A super smart robot named Sam is controlling a spaceship when he gets a distress signal. Knowing it's urgent, he quickly wakes up the captain. As the captain wakes up, Sam tells him they are under attack and must act fast. The battle begins as spaceships fire lasers at each other. The captain presses buttons, launches missiles, and steers the ship skillfully. Soon, they destroy the enemy's ships. Now, fully awake, the captain is introduced as Mike Colby. He has been in cryosleep for so long that his son back home is now older than him. Just as they think they are safe, a giant enemy ship appears. Without wasting time, they fire their strongest weapon and blow it up. After the fight, Mike receives a message with new orders. He can't go home yet. They arrive at a planet and land at a research station. There, Mike meets Dr. Gordon Hauser, the head scientist, and Dr. Barbara Glazer, an expert in genetics. After introductions, Mike turns off Sam and follows him on a tour of the facility. Dr. Hauser explains that they are working on secret experiments that are too dangerous for their home world. Their goal is to create a new kind of food, but the process is risky. As they walk, a worker named Tracy accidentally bumps into Mike before rushing off. Inside the lab, dead test animals are scattered everywhere. Mike meets Dr. Cal, a bacteria expert, who explains that one of their experiments, called Subject 20, has escaped. This creature has killed the animals and locked itself in an incubator. Subject 20 is strange. It keeps changing its form as it grows. Right now, it's inside a cocoon, and no one knows what will turn into next. Mike wants to destroy it, but Barbara insists they keep it alive to study it. Elsewhere, a worker named Jimmy is cleaning the lab. He notices that the cocoon creature is breathing. Curious, he carefully opens the incubator lid to get a closer look. Realizing something big is happening, he calls Earl, the head of security, and informs Dr. Hauser. While still on the call, he sees the creature give birth to a small, black, slug-like thing that moves using suction cups. Tracy is sent to help him, but before she arrives, the creature suddenly jumps onto Jimmy's face. He panics, struggling to pull it off. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is having a meal. This is where we meet Brian, the last member of the crew. The conversation shifts to the galaxy-wide food shortage, and the scientists discuss how Subject 20 might be the solution. They've created a special molecule called Proto-B, which makes food grow super fast. When tested on algae, it multiplied at an incredible speed. However, when someone asks what kind of creature was used in this experiment, everyone falls silent. They reveal that a former crew member, Annie, died in the process. Her DNA was used to create Subject 20. Suddenly, alarms start blaring across the facility. The team rushes to the lab and finds Jimmy lying on the floor. He's still breathing but barely alive. They search for Subject 20, knowing it shouldn't have left the lab because of the security system. But it's gone. Dr. Cal quickly takes Jimmy to the medical room. When they check his injuries, they find something shocking. His skull is crushed, part of his brain is exposed, yet he's still showing brain activity. Dr. Cal hooks him up to medical equipment. Jimmy's body lies under a sheet, but then something moves beneath the fabric. Meanwhile, Tracy gets ready for bed, unaware that a thick, sticky liquid is dripping from the ceiling above her. The rest of the crew also goes to sleep, but Mike stops to check on Sam. As Mike walks to his room, Barbara stops him. They end up in her quarters, spending a private moment together. At the same time, Earl, the station security officer, watches him on the monitors, though he should be focusing on security. Suddenly, an alarm flashes on his screen. Grabbing his weapon, he goes to check. A strange moaning sound comes from an air vent. When he climbs up to look, something jumps at him from the darkness. In the medical room, Dr. Cal comes back to check on Jimmy and is horrified by what he sees. Jimmy's body has changed completely. His flesh is now a mix of bones and jelly-like tissue, yet he's somehow still alive. The next morning, Tracy takes a steam bath, trying to relax. As the warm mist around her, she hears someone enter. It's Mike. He walks in casually, unbothered. She's surprised at first, but soon relaxes, enjoying his company. Their moment is cut short when something strange happens. A thick, white liquid drips onto Tracy's glasses from above. When she looks up, a creature suddenly bursts out of the vent. Both of them run in fear. Realizing the danger is growing, Mike makes a plan to track it down. Meanwhile, Barbara checks on Jimmy again. His body has changed even more, breaking down into something like pure protein. It's terrifying, but also proves that Proto-B can create endless organic material. Outside the station, Brian follows a trail of blood. He suddenly finds Earl's dead body, which falls onto him from above. Nearby, the team discovers another cocoon, much larger than before. They shoot at it, but the bullets bounce off, accidentally hitting Sam. When they check the cocoon, it's empty. Before they can react, Dr. Hauser suddenly runs off, refusing to let them destroy the creature. His escape is short-lived. Subject 20, now fully grown, appears in the shadows and drags him into a vent, pulling him back inside the station. Knowing time is running out, Tracy checks the station's map and finds that the vent leads to the control room, where she is. She rushes to the medical room, grabs Dr. Cal and Barbara, and runs to the security station. There, they meet up with Mike and Brian. As tension rises, Dr. Cal realizes something terrifying. The creature isn't just attacking randomly. It's thinking. It's cutting off their communication and escape routes while making sure the station stays livable. The horrifying truth becomes clear. The creature isn't keeping them alive out of mercy, but as a food source. Before they can fully process this, a sudden commotion grabs their attention. Dr. Hauser stumbles into the security room. Writhing in pain, he collapses, and Dr. Cal gives him morphine to ease his suffering. As the crew struggles to take in what's happening, the truth about Subject 20 is revealed. It was never supposed to evolve this way. Annie, one of their own, had volunteered to carry an experimental embryo infused with Dr. Hauser's DNA. But instead of controlled growth, the creature consumed her from the inside, leaving nothing behind. Meanwhile, Barbara and Tracy step into showers together, ignoring everything around them. While there, they discuss something unthinkable. What if they could communicate with the creature? Maybe it would understand them and let them go. Once dressed, they head to the control room to test their theory. Inside, Barbara carefully approaches Subject 20, trying to make contact. Though it can't speak, it clearly understands her. It has even connected itself to the station's computer, showing intelligence far beyond what they expected. Hoping for peace, Barbara types a question into the system. The creature responds, but any hope vanishes when it suddenly attacks. A barbed tentacle shoots out, impaling Barbara instantly. Tracy watches in horror and runs to warn the others. Knowing time is running out, the crew arms themselves and rushes toward the control room. Meanwhile, Dr. Cal stays behind to check with Sam, the robot. In a shocking discovery, Sam detects that Dr. Cal has cancer. A sudden idea strikes the doctor. He injects his cancer cells into Dr. Hauser's mutated remains. The result is immediate. The protein structure collapses. That's when he realizes the key to killing Subject 20. By the time Mike and Brian reach the control room, the creature has started transforming again, forming another cocoon. Dr. Cal follows, but before going in, he ensures the creature has no more food by destroying what's left of Jimmy. The doctor reveals his plan, but before he can explain, the cocoon bursts, spilling corrosive acid that kills Brian instantly. Dr. Cal rushes at the creature. Mike stops him, refusing to let him die. Frustrated, the doctor finally explains. If the creature eats his cancerous tissue, it might destroy it from the inside. Though reluctant, Mike knows they have no choice. As Tracy searches for medical supplies, she's suddenly attacked by Dr. Hauser's remains. His body is barely intact. Back in the lab, Dr. Cal, now too weak to go on, urges Mike to remove his tumor so they can use it against the creature. Though hesitant, Mike agrees and performs a procedure as Tracy gives the doctor morphine. But before they can finish, Dr. Cal goes still. He doesn't survive. Before they can react, Subject 20 smashes into the lab, sending Mike flying. Tracy and Sam fight back, but the robot is quickly destroyed. With no other choice, Mike grabs the extracted tumor and forces it into the creature's throat. Within seconds, its body begins to break down, dissolving into a foamy mess. Dr. Cal was right. His cancer cells were the creature's downfall. As the lab falls silent, Tracy and Mike take a breath, surrounded by the destruction. The nightmare is finally over. Thank you for watching. Please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in another one.